If you're getting started on the drums and your bass drum foot is struggling to play fast enough or precisely enough to play the songs that you want to play, then today's lesson is for you. Without targeting these two problems stalling your kick doubles, you'll struggle to effortlessly play any song with fast bass drum work like Walk This Way by Aerosmith or Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. But not to worry, because today we're breaking down these two challenges, helping you solve them step by step so that your right foot can go from a sloppy mess to playing tight 16th doubles at 100 beats per minute plus, which enables you to play those two songs. You can do this. Hey, welcome to the Non-Glamorous Drummer. I'm so glad you're hanging out today. I help self-taught beginner drummers know what to practice so that they can nail songs and sound awesome with a band and become that drummer that other people want to jam with. Now, there's one big skill that you have to have in order to be that, in order to be the drummer others want to jam with. You've got to have the superpower of coordination on the drums. Without coordination, everything is difficult. It takes forever to learn stuff. You run into roadblocks and you're learning a new song and you get stuck because there's something that you physically can't play. You hear it in your head. You've got ideas in your head, but your brain just can't get your limbs to play it. Meanwhile, if you have coordination, with coordination, everything is effortless, easy, and just flows from your brain right out through your limbs, and everything is a lot more fun. So it's safe to say you've got to build four-way coordination. I have a free PDF guide for you in the description that I want you to check out, especially if you are new here and especially if you're a new drummer. This is my 30 days to four-way rock coordination PDF e-guide. And what this does is it breaks down the whole process of building four-way coordination for rock drumming into just 30 steps. Whether or not you do one each day, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. It's 30 steps, might be 30 days. And what I always hear from my students is that once you get to like day 10, day 12, especially day 15, that's when you start seeing the massive coordination results in your playing, which is pretty cool. So I want you to go grab it. You're gonna have so much fun working through this and building coordination so you can play what you hear in your head. And hey, that's actually gonna help you out a lot with today's lesson, and it'll be a really good next step for you after working through today's lesson. So without further ado, let's dive in. So right foot isn't fast enough and it struggles to lock into the groove, and so there's a whole bunch of songs that you just can't play because your foot is holding you back. Trust me, I've been there. So many of my students have been there. I was working with a student at one point recently who was struggling with right foot kick drum sloppiness. But what was interesting was that we were troubleshooting this as I was working with him, and I had him play some kick doubles. I said, okay, can you play this? He did that. Okay, can you go a little bit faster? He could do it. He could do it. But whenever he put a groove together, whenever he tried to use them in a song, it just fell apart and it was always a mess, which was a very interesting discovery. And so what did this mean? Well, here's where we're going with this today. Here's our big idea. You can only solve foot sloppiness, gaining speed and dexterity, if you master both technique and coordination, not just one or the other. And so in this case with this student, he had the technique down. That could be you. You might have the technique down where you can sit here and go, that might be easy for you. But then you try to use it in a groove and you try to, get something going like, and then things are just a mess. And so if that's you, this is definitely a lesson for you. And now if you're struggling with the technique side of it, this is also for you because we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But the technique is honestly simple. It's not rocket surgery, as my college band director would say. Not that complicated, it's just a matter of doing it. But I've also got some really good coordination exercises for you that will help you out with tying in your right foot into your groove so that you can use the skill you're building down here with your hands, which means then actually being able to have fun and play the songs that you want to play. So 2 exercises for working coordination and technique. Number 1, for technique, practice kick doubles very slowly. Now, when you play kick doubles very slowly, they're just singles, right? Because it's different with our right foot compared to with our hands. If we're playing a double stroke roll with our hands, we're using rebound. We're using different amounts of wrist versus fingers versus rebound, depending on what volume or speed we're playing our double stroke roll. And so a lot of times we're truly getting a 2 for the price of 1 with our hands when we're playing. But it's kind of a different story down here with the bass drum because we're not really changing our technique. Yes, there are various hacks and tricks you can use. There's heel toe and there's other things that you can practice doing, various twist motions, and there's a lot of fancy stuff out there that maybe you've looked into and maybe you've practiced learning. But for the most part, we're not changing our technique and what our foot is doing from slow to fast. We can find a foot position here on the pedal and we can stick with it. We can be heel up or we can be heel down. That really doesn't need to change. And so this is honestly pretty simple. The biggest thing that I want to be your takeaway here, if you get nothing else out of this, is maximize beater motion. Because if you're practicing your kick doubles and you're practicing them like this, and they're sounding like that, maybe this is familiar to you. Maybe this is yours. This was definitely my doubles at one point where my foot was getting further up the pedal. My theory was that if my foot was further up the foot plate, I could play faster. Unfortunately, the opposite is true. And if you watch a lot of the foot speed masters out there, just look up Jojo Mayer. There's another drummer whose name I'm blanking on, who's a very specific example of this. You'll see these guys having their feet way back here on the foot plate because you get way more beater motion, way more volume with less footwork. Now it takes a little bit more foot strength, and this is something we've talked about in some older lessons on this before, where it feels easier, especially if you're a beginner, to play quickly and loudly up here because you get more leverage. It's just the laws of physics, mechanics here with your bass drum pedal. But if you slide your foot further back, you're actually going to be able to get more speed, volume, fluidity, motion, all the things that we want. However, it's going to require a little bit of foot strength, which just takes time to build. So if you're a total beginner, you do have to keep that in mind. But the big takeaway here is allow for beater motion. In other words, we don't want to practice like this. Even if we're bouncing the beater, we don't have much motion there. Let's practice allowing more motion. That means if you're a size 11 like I am, your heel is on the heel plate here. My heel's not all the way down to the floor. Some drummers choose to do that. You could do that. My heel is really right here on the heel plate. If I take my shoe off, you can see about right here. By the way, house shoes, like around the house slippers, are so good for this because they're flexible, they're loose, they're bendy, but yet they grip really well. So I love them for playing drums. That's why I have them on in pretty much every video. So I highly recommend you get a good pair of house shoes if you want to have good grip and good feel of the pedal while you play. So position your foot about right here. Allow like 3 inches between your toes and the chain on the pedal so you've got plenty of space there, and practice those slow singles like this. So you've got beater motion, you've got this full range of motion here, even if you're not trying to play loudly. Practice allowing lots of motion, even playing more softly. Now we're not talking incredibly whisper soft, but you can have a lot of beater motion going loud like that, but also going pretty soft compared to that. Still a full motion. Softly, loudly, same amount of motion. Now practice those in pairs. And we're not even talking specific tempo here. That's not the important part. The important part is the motion and the practice of doing this repetitively. And so start off pretty slowly. We're focusing on quality over quantity. That is so critical. You've got to focus on getting this right and doing this well. That's so much more important than doing it fast, because if you skip to trying to go fast, you'll end up in the same boat I was in years ago where I was like, hear how fast my doubles are, except half the time you can't hear them because they're just all jumbled up in a mess. That's no good. That doesn't work. They've got to be strong if they're going to be heard in the midst of a groove. If you want your kick doubles to sound like what you hear in Walk This Way or Immigrant Song, they've got to be loud and clear and even. And this is how you do it. Full beater motion, slowly. And so as you're going faster, your foot is not sliding up the pedal. We're really not changing foot position. And we're really not doing any kind of fancy techniques. If you want to explore, the nuance of heel toe and various twist techniques and things out there that drummers are doing, and if you're trying to do speed metal, fine, you can do that. But for 99% of what we're going to play, including Immigrant Song, Walk This Way, songs like that, you don't need that. And you can literally just go heel down, or you can go heel up if you want to. It doesn't make a difference to me. Whatever's more comfortable to you. And just pick a foot position right here and focus on playing those singles as pairs, getting faster and faster until they technically become kick doubles. And the repetition is all there is to it. There are no tricks, there are no secrets. I guess beater motion and beater bounce and that kind of bouncing the beater, I guess that's the secret. But otherwise, there's really no secrets here. You just have to do it over and over again. And as your right foot builds strength, you'll feel a lot of burn down here and up on your leg. And when you're playing a groove like If you're playing something like that, you're gonna start to feel some burn even up here in your leg. Your whole leg has to work to make this happen, even though the motion's coming from your foot, even heel down. Now, if you're heel up, then that's gonna be slightly different, but you're still gonna feel the burn. You're still gonna be building strength, and so be patient with the strength building. And just know that it takes time. Be okay with it taking time. This is not gonna happen overnight if you're a beginner, but as you build the strength, it's gonna come, it's gonna get there. So, it's possible that you've already got some of this down, and like my student, you might be able to play pretty decent kick doubles, and if so, your focus needs to be coordination. That's step 2. Coordination, the shifting kick exercise. You may have heard me talk about this one before. There's all sorts of cool things you can do on the drums by playing, 16th notes or whatever subdivision of notes, but playing accents on different parts of the beat, or playing with certain limbs on certain parts of the beat. There's so many things you can do. It just opens this whole world of possibilities when you take this and run with it, which is what I want you to do. But today we're looking at a very specific kind of shifting exercise, and this is the shifting kick exercise, where we're just gonna play a basic 4 on the floor groove really slow. I'm gonna demonstrate all this for you with the metronome. You can feel free to play along. And first we're gonna play the kick on the beats, so it's gonna sound like. Then we're gonna shift the kick to the E's, so 1 E, 2 3 E, E. I played an extra note there I shouldn't have, but the kick's just gonna be on the E's there that second time. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E. Then we're gonna move to the ands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We're still hitting the snare on 2 and 4. We're playing 8th notes on the hats. Then we move the kick to the uhs. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4. Just like that. Then we apply the doubles to it, and we do 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 1 E, just like that. Then we shift the pair over. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're back to where we started. And so we have 4 variations of each of these because there's 4 parts of the beat. Even if you don't know notation and music theory, it's fine. It makes sense. If we're playing in 4/4, we can count 1 E and 2 E and we're breaking each beat into 4 parts. And so we can shift where we play the kick on each of those 4 parts, and we can move our kick pairs to each of those 4 places. And so we get these different variations that help us really tie the right foot into the groove no matter where we want to play it. This is really a big secret to playing syncopated. If you want to get to where you can play and you want to play like weird random stuff, this is how you get there. You practice playing the snare, the kick, whatever, on different parts of the beat intentionally and saying, I'm going to play on this part. Okay, I'm going to play on this part. And then you get to where you can improvise on that, which is pretty awesome. And so this is just a springboard for you. If you're new to this whole shifting exercise thing, this is a great place to start. And this is going to really give you a lot of right foot freedom to use the strength and the technique you're building, as well as just to play simple stuff, but to play more interesting kick drum patterns. If you want to be able to improvise kick drum patterns, we talked about that last month, then this is going to really help you do that. So I'm just going to play through a round of this. First, we're going to do the shifting kick singles, and then we'll do the shifting kick doubles. We'll label on the screen which part of the beat we're on, just to help you keep up, but it's super straightforward. We're going to do it at 60 beats a minute. So feel free to play along. Listen, I definitely encourage you to listen a few times and rewind the video. And then as soon as you've got it and you're like, okay, I think I've got this, then practice playing along with me. It's nice and slow. Let's do it. And now we'll do that same thing, this time with the shifting kick doubles. One quick note for you detail-minded people that are really paying attention there. There were a couple moments there when I was doing the kick doubles version where I played 3 kick notes in a row. It doesn't have to happen that way as you're transitioning from one to another, because we're shifting, the 2 notes from here to here, then you could play 3 in a row, if that makes sense, each time you transition. The last 2 transitions, it felt natural to do that to me. Or you could just not do that, and you could leave out that 3rd note and then bring it in the next time around. If you're worrying about that, don't worry about that. It's one of those tiny little details. The point is, play the exercise. Doesn't matter exactly how you do it. So, if you take action on this stuff, if you practice the slow kick singles, positioning your foot correctly on the foot plate, whether heel down, heel up, doesn't matter. You allow the beater motion, whether you're playing softly or loudly, and you practice your slow singles, then you move them into pairs, gradually get faster, work on gradually building the leg strength. Lots of repetition is key here. You do that, and then you practice this shifting kick exercise with the singles and with the doubles. I promise you that in a few months, your foot will get faster. You'll actually be able to use that speed in grooves, and you'll be able to play the songs you want to play without getting stuck. And that's pretty awesome. And that's also the big win from just working coordination in general. And this right here is really targeting your right foot coordination. I strongly encourage you to grab that 30 days to 4-way rock coordination e-guide if you haven't grabbed that already. Go download that, because that's going to be a really good companion to this. Practice the shifting kick thing, and also practice the exercises there, each day, step by step in the coordination guide, because that's going to help you out a ton. And you will get from struggling to play new stuff and struggling to feel like you can improvise, struggling to feel in control, in command, and musical. And instead, you'll find yourself just the ideas flowing and being able to play what you want to play, your brain being fully connected to your limbs. You can just express yourself. You can learn new songs quickly. Learning new songs becomes fun when you can technically already play them. You're just listening and figuring it out, then you sit down and play it. Imagine that feeling. That's what I want for you. And that's what I want you to know that you can achieve. You can do that. Nobody's born with coordination, but it comes with practice and it comes with repetition. Repetition is key. And working on it a little bit every day, 30 minutes each day. If you can do 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, that is tremendous. And in a few months, you're going to be a different drummer. So question for you as you go. What's your biggest holdup with your kick foot? Is it the technique or the coordination? Identify what it is. Take action right now and solve this one day at a time. If you know that your technique needs work, maybe you're like me a few years ago and you're running your kick into the chain trying to play faster, sit farther back, give your legs some more room. If you're playing heel up, sit a little higher. Just give yourself some space so that you can get beater motion. Focus on the strength building. Maybe you've got that. Maybe it's the coordination. Focus on that. Either way, figure out what your holdup is, take action, get some results happening, and then let me know how it goes. All right, as always, thanks for watching. I hope this lesson has been super valuable to you. I'll see you on the next video. You can do this. Stay non-glamorous.